PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down everything all Golden Knights, we're going to be talking about the most recent matchup that happened, as we are going to be talking about a Pacific Division matchup between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. And to say that this did not go well for your Vegas Golden Knights would be an understatement. Unfortunately, the box score kind of reflects how the Golden Knights played in this matchup. So we're going to break down everything that's going on here on Vegas Hockey Hub with your host, Ian Rachiele. Now go to PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. Check out all the content we have on the platform. We have about a dozen shows on here, including Vegas Hockey Hub. So go to www.prconnectionsradio.com. Also, go to our social media pages. We are also on all major platforms at Vegas Hockey Hub. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are on all major platforms you can think of. So go to at Vegas Hockey Hub and check out all the amazing content we have on the network. And then follow me on social media as well, as that you can find me at Ian J. Rachiele. So that is IANJRACHIELE. And you can find me on almost all platforms, anything social media related. I will be on there. So this episode of Vegas Hockey Hub, this is going to be interesting to talk about just because of what happened here. So really getting into what happened here when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers, really interesting situation of what's going on there. And, you know, when you sit here and watch what happened in this game between Vegas and between Edmonton, Connor McDavid, interesting situation that did develop here. Connor McDavid not in the game and him being absent from the starting lineup. Now, he did suffer an injury a while back, but he is not in the starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights and Edmonton Oilers game. And there were some people wondering how the Edmonton Oilers would perform at home without Connor McDavid. We'll talk about later on, but I think they did pretty well for themselves without Connor McDavid being. And moving over to the playoff clinching scenarios for the Vegas Golden Knights here while they're heading into the Edmonton Oilers. And the interesting situation that happened here is the playoff clinching scenarios for your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I'm not going to take credit for this. This came from the NHL itself. But here is the clinching scenario. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights would clinch if they defeat the Oilers in regulation and the Blues would lose to Chicago Blackhawks in any way. Or if they defeat the Edmonton Oilers in overtime and the Blues lose to the Blackhawks in regulation. Okay, that was the clinching scenario for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, another situation that happened that could be the case in terms of the playoff clinching scenario involving your Vegas Golden Knights is option B. Now, option B, when it comes to the playoff clinching scenarios, is this right here. So the Vegas Golden Knights, with the St. Louis Blues only being 5 points back, they essentially have to get to essentially 95 points to get a playoff spot. So those are the two scenarios for your Vegas Golden Knights. Is A, you have to win this game and for St. Louis to lose Chicago, or if you lose this game tonight against Edmonton, you have to see that you get to the magic number of 95 points. The reason why this matters so much is that the Vegas Golden Knights right now are at 90 points on the year. Okay? So if you being at 90 points, you essentially have to get to that magic number in order to make. So moving over from the playoff situation, there is an update on the Arizona Coyotes situation that we do need to talk about. Because according to multiple reports, it's been Athletic, Bleacher Report, NHL, whatever source you want to use, the Arizona Coyotes are indeed very close to being sold and then relocated to Salt Lake City. Now, of course, there's going to be so much more details that are going to come out in a couple of minutes, hours, months, stuff like that. But the general idea is that Ryan Smith, who is the owner of the Utah Jazz in the NBA, he is currently in the process of acquiring the Arizona Coyotes and making them go to Salt Lake City in a relocation deal. So this is big for the NHL. I know there's going to be some people who love the Arizona Coyotes. There's going to be some people who are not going to want to see them go. And then there's a fraction of fans who, when the Arizona Coyotes are always talked about relocation, we've heard about Houston, we've heard about Quebec, we've heard about, all these different places. But when it comes to the Salt Lake City market, they have a minor league hockey team there called the Utah Grizzlies. They've had some Frozen Fury games that have happened in Salt Lake City at the Vivint Smart Home Arena, which is where the NBA team is played at. So it'll be interesting to see what happens between the Arizona Coyotes and what this process becomes. But that was the major update that happened here. The fact that the Arizona Coyotes are being sold to Ryan Smith, and with Ryan Smith's ties to Salt Lake City, we will not be shocked if that process does start in the near future. For your pregame notes here for the Vegas Golden Knights, there was a roster change and a lineup update that we do need to talk about heading into what this game was between Edmonton and Vegas. As Brendan Brisson, the former first-round pick, has been called up from the AHL. He had been with the Henderson Silver Knights the last couple of weeks. He will be called up. He will be in your starting lineup for tonight for your Vegas Golden Knights. And for Brendan Brisson, it's really interesting to talk about the fact that when you see a guy like him and you understand that he's a first-round pick, he has a lot of expectations, he has a lot of hype surrounding him, and you really notice that with Brendan Brisson, this is an opportunity for him to be on the same line with two established veterans, and we'll go through the starting lineup in just a minute. But for Brendan Brisson, him called up once again, he'll be with the Vegas Golden Knights. The reason why is because Chandler Stevenson is out for today's game. And, a lot of times we don't speculate or we don't want to report on anything unless we know the facts. However, with Chandler Stevenson being out for personal reasons, we can sit here and say very confidently that his wife being pregnant, it's safe to assume that Chandler Stevenson is not in the game against Edmonton because his wife is expecting a child. So with Chandler Stevenson, when that does happen, congratulations to him. But with Chandler Stevenson being out of the lineup, he has been kind of a constant on that middle six for your Vegas Golden Knights over the last couple of months. But yeah, so personal reasons, duty calls. So Chandler Stevenson out of the lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights in this game. And then in net for your Vegas Golden Knights for the first time since Columbus a couple of weeks ago, Adin Hill, after being injured, he is back in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. And it'll be interesting to see how Adin Hill does over the next couple of weeks, especially come playoff time. But if anything is an indicator from today, I will not be surprised if Adin Hill is the backup in the playoffs, considering his performance in this game today. Now, obviously, there could be some rust. There could be some time to try to, get yourself back up to speed as a goaltender. But Adin Hill, first game back from injury, and was in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. And we'll go over your starting lineup in just 15 seconds. But with Adin Hill, I do appreciate him being back in net and him being fully healthy after being injured against the Columbus Blue Jackets. He has missed the last 7 games of the season. Now, your starting lineup, as we're doing the recap here, Line 1 is Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and Jonathan Marchessault, the 3 guys who have been on the first line very steadily the last couple of months. On the second line, you have Michael Amadio, Tomas Hertl, and Brendan Bryson in replace for Chandler Stevenson. So unlike last game where it was Stevenson, Hertl, and Amadio, they essentially had to replace Stevenson last minute with Brendan Bryson, and Hertl and Amadio are together. Your third line will be the young guy of Pavel Dorofeyev, William Karlsson, and Anthony Mantha. Now, William Karlsson trying to get to 30 goals on the season. He's about 2 goals away now. We'll see how he does at that mark. Anthony Mantha acquired from the trade deadline. Pavel Dorofeyev, the young up-and-coming guy, someone who a lot of people are high on with your Vegas Golden Knights. And then line 4 for the second game in a row, Paul Cotter, Brett Howden, and Keegan Kolazar. Defensively, you have Noah Hannafin and Nick Hague. These two over the last month have had amazing chemistry together on the same defensive pairing. Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb, 2 guys who have been on the same defensive pairing for years now and has been a rock of a foundation on defense for your Vegas Golden Knights. And then Alex Pietrangelo still out for the Vegas Golden Knights. We reported on the recap show previously that he did not travel with the team, so it makes sense that Zach Whitecloud is on the line with Alec Martinez. And then finally in net, like we reported just a while ago, Aiden Hill making his return and being in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. So that is your starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights heading into this matchup against the Edmonton Oilers. And really interesting game and everything is talking about there when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights. So being there at Rogers Palace in Edmonton, Alberta. And this game started kind of on a whimper, I will say. There really wasn't that much action in terms of shooting. Jack Eichel, there was a shot that just went wide. There was also a situation where Jonathan Marchessault tried to get it past the goalie and just did not work out there. But overall, when it comes to the goaltending situation with the Edmonton Oilers, in net for Edmonton, along on the opposite side of Aiden Hill, you actually had Stuart Skinner. And the Edmonton Oilers would make the first move of the game as about halfway into the first period. Cody Ceci with his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Darnell Nurse and Ryan McLeod. And it would be a 1-0 game for the Edmonton Oilers. And really unfortunate for Vegas, but they would start down 1-0 in the first period, and the first period would end with a 1-0 deficit. So moving over from the first period, heading into the second, and this would just be domination by Edmonton. And from start to finish, this would just be a situation where Edmonton took advantage again and again and again. As 5 minutes into the second period, defenseman Matthias Ekholm with his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Corey Perry and Ryan McLeod. It would be a 2-0 game for Edmonton. And it really just showed that they are in control from start to finish. I mean, it was just a situation where when you study what the Vegas Golden Knights, they looked like they were in neutral, and the Edmonton Oilers were full throttle. It's just really unfortunate seeing what happened here, considering the fact that Edmonton just took advantage of the misfortunes that Vegas did on this play. And then not even a few minutes later, Zach Hyman, 53rd goal of the season, and assisted by his line mates and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Leon Draisaitl, and that would make it a 3-0 game for the Edmonton Oilers. And just really a situation where the Vegas Golden Knights, they just kept making mistake after mistake. It didn't seem like they were running on full cylinders. And more importantly, it really felt like your Vegas Golden Knights mentally had checked out and seemed like the energy wasn't there. There wasn't a lot of hustle between the Vegas Golden Knights and Edmonton Oilers. And overall, when it comes to this game that you're seeing right here, I don't know what the Vegas Golden Knights could have done better or worse in that scenario besides, just showing up and trying to play hockey. So after the second period, 3-0, Shea Theodore penalty, not injury, but penalty where Shea Theodore would slash Sam Carrick, and it would be a 3-0 situation. Golden Knights would be on the penalty kill, and they would kill this off. So unlike last game where they let up 2 power play goals, the Vegas Golden Knights were 1 for 1 on the penalty kill to start out the second period. At the end of the second period, in this recap here, your Vegas Golden Knights would be down 3-0. And it's just really unfortunate seeing how this game went down. And really towards the second period, it just seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong for your Vegas Golden Knights. And I just really look at it and go, you know what? This is a Vegas Golden Knights team that if you play like this in the postseason, you're not going to win. If you play like you did the first 2 periods against Edmonton in the playoffs, you're done. Against Dallas, you're... Now, to start out the third period, this is pretty much, Control-Alt, Control-C, Control-V, because the Vegas Golden Knights didn't have just 1 penalty, but they had 2 penalties in half a minute. Brayden McNabb with a delay of game penalty, and then Jack Eichel with a tripping penalty. Now, with the Vegas Golden Knights having 2 penalties in the span of 30 seconds, it created an odd man rush and an opportunity for the Edmonton Oilers to score on the power play. Well, wouldn't you be shocked when the Vegas Golden Knights let up a power play goal as Leon Draisaitl with his 41st goal of the season, assisted by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman, and it would be a 4-0 game for the Edmonton Oilers. But wait, there's more. Because the Vegas Golden Knights, after having a down 4-0 game, you finally got on the board. And yes, oh yes, you finally got on the board as Keegan Kolesar with his 7th goal of the season, assisted by William Karlsson and Noah Hannafin, and it would be a 4-1 game. So yeah, congratulations. You finally scored a goal. It took you about 40 plus minutes into the game, but you finally scored a goal. That was good for the Vegas Golden Knights. Or was it? Because not even 2 minutes later, the Edmonton Oilers, Dylan Holloway, a former first-round pick for Edmonton, with a goal to make it a 5-1 game. And yeah, I mean, really the Edmonton Oilers, this is a situation where, they really dominated from start to finish. They took advantage of situations, and they did what they had to do. So your Vegas Golden Knights, after this loss, is 42-28-8. What a disappointment, might I add, when it comes to what this game was. It was really a disappointment. And, looking at the win-loss records, seeing what they have coming up, you have Minnesota, who, by the way, did get eliminated earlier in this game. So the Minnesota Wild losing, that means that they are out of contention. They are eliminated. And Marc-Andre Fleury's 17-year run of being in the playoffs every single year has been broken. So Minnesota's next. And then the final 4 games after that, you have Colorado, Chicago, and Anaheim. So, yeah, going to be really interesting for Vegas to see what happens there. You have 3 teams that are not in playoff contention in Minnesota, Anaheim, and Chicago. And then the Colorado Avalanche, who are a playoff caliber team, and is actually going to be one of the best games the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be going up against in this final run. So, for your Vegas Golden Knights, we will be back for the Minnesota game. We will be here to see how they do against Minnesota. Hopefully, it will be better than this. But I will say here on Vegas Hockey Hub, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and this is Vegas Hockey Hub. And until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. Continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. And go to www.prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. Check out all the great shows we have on the network. And go to our social media pages at Vegas Hockey Hub and watch all the stuff that we have on there. So, until next time, have a good one.